Hi there, and welcome to Wade's Workshop, and this is going to be part 2 of the lead screw protector. So we've got it all made up with the brackets both ends, so the next step in the procedure is going to be to fit it onto the lathe. So there's a bit of disassembly needed to remove the lead screw, pull it out so that we can fit this tube over the lead screw, and we shall show you that first. So I've given it all a good clean down and cleaned the lead screw itself. You know, it's fairly clean. I'm going to give it a bit further clean when I remove it. The first thing I'm going to do is just loosen the nut on the end of the lead screw here. So there we go. Just loosen it off. No need to remove it at this stage. So that's the nut loose. So then we need to go to the headstock end. So much the same, with the banjo still engaged, I just need to loosen the nut of the gear on the end of the lead screw. 17mm spanner for that. We'll pull the nut off, pull the washer off, and remove the gear. In this instance I think I've got an 80 tooth, but you may have a different one on there, but that's the first step. And then remove the little spacer. So now the lead screw is free to travel in that direction. So I'll just move the carriage out of the way, back up the bed of the lathe. So we've loosened the nut here. There are a pair of thrust bearings in here. We can actually take the nut off and disassemble this little unit to give it a good clean out while we're at it. But there's no actual need to do it to fit the lead screw protector. So I've got a 6mm Allen key here. I'm going to have to go a long ways on this particular one. There's that one loose. And another one on the bottom. We'll undo completely the 2 Allen bolts. There's the bottom one. You see, I've given all this a good clean first. And it's not immaculate, not spotless, but I've given it a fair clean up so that I'm not more working in amongst the swarf. So now we can actually pull the lead screw out from the headstock, and there we are. The lead screw is completely removed from the lathe. Just give you a shot of that. I've taken the lead screw completely out. I'll just show you the bearings in the end of this block. I'll undo the little nut. So we'll keep these in order and all in the same place in pairs. So as you can see, we got the outer race, the bearing itself, and in the back of the block, it's actually a tight fit in there, is the inner race. And the same on this side. So we've got the outer race, the bearing, little thrust bearing, and the same both sides. So I'm going to give all that a good clean out while I'm at it. I don't know whether those inner races come out. I've never tried to strip them before. I think they're pressed in there. So I'm going to leave well alone, just give it all a good clean out, ready for when I reassemble it. So the lead screw itself, it's still a bit grubby where it was in the headstock end. So I'm just going to give that a good wipe down, make sure there's no loose bits of swarf that I've dragged out. And making sure not to lose the key that's in the end, but it is a tight fit, so it shouldn't fall out. Just give the lead screw a bit of a wipe down. Okay. So I'm going to feed the lead screw back in through the lead nuts that clamp here. I'll bring the carriage back a bit. Back through to somewhere like here, and at this stage I'm going to concentrate on fitting the large end onto the headstock. So I'll just take the small bracket off the end of my where am I? Small bracket off the end here. There we go. What I'm going to do is see if it fits over the lead screw. That inner core is quite a good fit on this part of the lead screw, and I may have to just ease that out a little. Okay. Yeah, I may have to skim maybe 0.1 out of the centre of that. It's just a size for size-ish fit on me. But I'm happy with that for the time being, because what I want to do is fit the whole lot up in one go onto the lead screw. Oh. There we are. And then I'm going to push the lead screw back in through the housing. Oh, there we go. And back through the hole in the back. Let's just have a quick look. There we are, it's in. So now what I'm doing, basically I'm going to be using the set of bushes here as the guide. Let me just push those back. Oh. Yeah, that centre one's just a little bit tight for what I'm after. And that just fits there. Now I'm feeling a bit of interference at the back there where this bracket is hitting against the bed of the lathe, so I think I'm going to need to put a bit of a flat on. It's not much, it's just a little bit, and as you can see it's stopping me being able to fully assemble this part right at the back, and I'm using this as a bush to centralise this part in relation to the screw, and it just needs a bit of a flat on that back edge, so I think I'll do that first. So I'll just pull the screw back out again. I'll just take this bracket off. A couple of turns, it should pop off. I think I need a bit of a flat on the end. I think it's not quite going in far enough there. So a bit of a flat, but I can do that in moments. So I've just filed a small flat on the back edge where it was fouled in the bed, and as you can see it's now quite free moving there. It's not rubbing. Just tighten up that screw so I've got it in a true position where it's going to live. Okay. So, first step is going to be to spot through these two holes, give myself a couple of centre pop marks on the inside there, ready to accept a couple of bolts. So, let's see what I can find. You know what, I think I'm going to be using just a 5.1 drill, which is what I used to drill the holes in this. Oh, that feels tight in there, maybe I used a 5. Yeah. Okay. Being careful not to move it. There's a bit of a burr in that hole. I think what I'll do is drill and tap the first one. Not sure which mark is which here. There's a little scratch on the paint there which is throwing me off, because I got it in my mind that let me just double check. Something a bit more positive. Oh yeah, I can definitely see it's not that scratched. There's a little mark there. So get a proper centre punch in there now. Let's see what I can find. That'll do nicely. I'm all cack-handed here because I'm a lefty. Easier for me to do it this way round. Just pick up that centre pot and give a positive centre punch there. Now, there's not a lot of force needed here, so I'm thinking rather than undoing this front plate and putting a nut on the inside, which I could do, I'm thinking I may get away with just tapping the hole. I can always put a nut down from the inside from the back here afterwards, but I think I'll get away with drilling and tapping that hole. So I'll make a decision as to what size thread I'm going to use. So I've decided on M5. So my first step is going to be to drill perhaps a 3.2 mil hole in there. Am I in the way? Yeah, just slightly. I have checked, there is nothing on the inside that's going to foul it. Okay, moved on to a 4.2 now. And that's 4.2. So I suppose what I'll do now is perhaps open it up to... No, I'm going to leave it like that, and I'm going to tap it 5mm. So let me just find a 5mm tap. Should be one here somewhere. Really low gear. I'll just put a bit of cutting compound on it. Just gently tap that through. Wasn't very straight that, but should be okay. So what I'm going to do now is put it back together in this position. Just check the screw. Yeah, a little bit of an angle, we can sort that out. Without taking the carriage off, I can't really get in there, and I don't want to do that unnecessarily. Put it all back in position. I'll just tighten that screw up again on the top of there. And there we have it. I'll tighten that one up. I might put some clearance holes in here. Well, they should be okay. So there's the first one. Then I'll get the 5mm drill. I'll just mark the lower hole. Right, that's better. You can see me now. So I got the 5mm drill into the bottom hole, and I've just mark the lower hole. I'll move that out the way again and drill the bottom hole. Okay, so long and the short of it is that end pretty much fitted. So something very similar at the other end now. So I can take this back off again, slide the centre tube up this end, up to the headstock end, and just using the centre tube this time, mark out some holes for drilling into the carriage. So we're happy that that works. We don't know what the alignment's like, but I'm happy that it works. So yeah, there's my basics. Much the same as the other side. Push that through there. Wondering whether to drop that down there. No, I'll keep it square. So as you can see, I'm a couple of mil long on that block. I'll shorten that up at a later date, but for the time being, and to keep this video a bit shorter, I'm just going to tighten that onto its block. And we're going to mark this one out. So I think what we'll do is mark it with a drill. Now, I'm going to have to be very careful here that I am either side of this shaft, and it isn't a big shaft. And I am either side of it. I mean, I deliberately did that. That's why I put them up and down and not long ways. But I'm just going to double check how deep I can actually drill without interfering with anything. But what I'll do first of all is just mark out one of them. Okay, I can just get in there. Oh. So that's marked it with a 5mm drill. And I can now pull that back completely out of the way. So there's the first one. So I'll finish this one off, drill and tap it, and then we'll come back and do the other one once it's all clamped into place using the whole of the other one as its guide. So I'm just going to pop this hand wheel off, just have a double check that I'm not going to foul anything. I've set the clutch down on this, so I don't want to snap the tap in the hole. slipping in my slipping in the chuck, I'm afraid. So here we go. That should be it. Okay, let's just screw that in there. See how much is sticking out. Right, that tightens off at that point. And I have 11 mil, tad over 11 mil of shank there. And the bracket is 10 mil. I'm going to cut a couple of mil off the end of that screw. And happy days. So I just bolted that on there loosely, got it in position. And I'm just going to mark the bottom screw. Ooh. That should be enough to mark it. I'm going to pop it off again. Oh, what I have forgot to mention is that to locate the lead screw this end, I mean it's located up this end, up the headstock end in the, obviously in the headstock bearing, but here to locate it up and down and round, I've got it, the half nuts engaged to hold the lead screw in its operating position where it is, so it's held both ends. And that is exactly the same way that I put the end block on. I'll bring the carriage right up, clamp the half nuts, and then put the end bearing block for the lead screw tightened down in that position. That way I know that I'm not fighting against, the half nuts aren't fighting against the end bearing block. Just so I'd mention it at this stage. So I've got a little mark there. And I'll now go through the same procedure. I'm sure you don't want to see it. With a 3.2, 4.2, tap it. Maybe have to shorten the bolts and what have you. So I'll bring you back when we're somewhere near. So to give myself a bit of wiggle room, I opened up the holes in this block to 6 mil to give it a bit of a free play on the 5 mil bolts, just in case I was a little bit out. I mean, it did feel like it was binding a bit going in against the plastic. But as you can see, there's no problem with alignment there. There's very little clearance between this aluminium and that plastic, and it does slide straight through. So I think alignment wise we've got that one, and these are tightened up. I actually found a plug tap, ran a plug tap down the holes, and it gave me enough thread to be able to use the bolts that I had. So happy days on that one. Right, so that's that bush fitted. Now I need to take it apart again, fit all the other bits in, and give it a whirl. Yeah, that's starting to look like a lead screw protection cover. So 2 more screws. Well, I like this one of them. There's the one. I'll have to dig out another screw out of my box of screws. So put that one on there. So it's all there, all fastened up, and it's now working. Now, I'm not going to pretend it works straight away. I had to do a bit of fettling. I had to put a bit more clearance on the little 2 mil shoulders on the insides and outsides of the pipes, just to give it a bit more flexibility, you know, for movement. I found some of them were sticking, and I increased the radiuses on the front edges, because now and again they'd push right back through, and they'd catch on the way out and try and rip the bracket off the end. But yeah, I probably spent half an hour just messing about with it, getting it right. And as you can see, oh, I'm going to hit the truck there, but anyway, as you can see, it now closes up, extends the full way, no problem at all. In fact, if I bring that carriage back, bear with me a second. No, I think I'm going to hit the truck there, but during normal use, yeah, that's, you know, it goes right back. That's as far as I want to go. So, yeah, I mean, that's a job done. As I say, it doesn't work straight out of the box. Do need a bit of fettling, wriggling and jiggling, you know, a bit of alignment, you know, wiggle things around a bit. But no problems whatsoever now. And I've lubricated it all on the inside of the lead screw, obviously, before I dropped it in. And happy days. It's going to be a lot easier to clean my lead screw now. Ooh, look what I found. I wonder. Well, there we are, all completed. A certain amount of success with this one, I think. We'll see as time goes on how well it lasts, whether it wears out, you know, how it is in operation over a period of time. Time will tell on it, I suppose. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching it just as much as I've enjoyed making it. Thanks for watching, guys, and thanks for subscribing. Cheers now.